Parents and advocates took to Queen's Park this week in a two-day demonstration, hoping to draw attention to critical problems with the province's autism program. Kate Dudley-Logue with the Ontario Autism Coalition joins me with more on the delays that have left over 60,000 children on waitlists. Good morning to you, Kate.
Good morning.
We hear that number. It's massive.
It's staggering, and it's incredible that this is where we're at.
And I'm wondering, tell me more about the programs that they're waiting for. This is important therapy, and what does having that delay mean for those treatments?
Well, yeah, it is important therapy indeed. The therapies that people are waiting for are what we call core services.
Okay.
And they're clinical therapies, occupational therapy, speech and language therapy, mental health supports, as well as behavioral therapy. And these are really the supports that will give kids the necessary tools they need to develop communication skills, self-help skills, even basic things like toileting and feeding themselves and hygiene, as well as very important self-regulation skills. And what we know is that early intervention is best. Any professional would tell you that the earlier you can start these therapies, the more chance that they're going to actually help kids develop. And you know what we want is to see kids move off into school and be able to regulate, enjoy life, take care of themselves. And what is happening now is kids are waiting 5 to 7 years for therapy that they're basically going to be aging out.
And it's such an emotional thing too, because you see these parents that have these kids and they're looking at this wait list thinking it's going to be years until we get this help.
It's really frustrating. To find out, even getting a diagnosis for your child, there's a waiting period for that. We're up to about 2 years through most parts of the province to even just receive a diagnosis. So you're waiting on that. And then when you finally receive the diagnosis, you feel, I'm finally going to get some help for my child.
You've got an
We're
answer.
finally on the road to getting things figured out. And then you get slapped in the face with finding out that you're probably waiting 5 to 7 years. And that's what we're anticipating based on the knowledge that we have. There's nobody even telling you how long you're going to wait, which is the other frustrating part. There's not a lot of transparency happening with this government. They're claiming that it's this world-leading program. There is a pretty horrifying disconnect between the reality of what is actually happening to families and what the government is portraying is happening with this program.
So you've been protesting, you've been outside Queen's Park, you've been bringing this message to MPPs, to ministers, and what is it that you want them to hear from you?
We want them to do better for our kids. And as you said, we spent Monday protesting on Queen's Park. Yesterday, we were inside the building, meeting with them, having discussions.
What are those conversations like?
Well, I have to tell you, it's pretty frustrating. While I will say that the government did come and meet us, we had a breakfast reception, and they did come and meet us, and they listened to family stories, and that was really nice. Everybody played nice, but then the minister goes into question period and starts barking about all of his talking points about how it's a world-leading program. Meanwhile, he knows we're in the room watching him, and he's just played very nice with us, listening to all of our stories.
That's such a huge disconnect, too, to say that it's a world-class program, and yet you've got people outside on the lawn at Queen's Park saying, hey, we're waiting with tens of thousands of other kids trying to get help.
It feels like, why are we here? If this was actually a world-leading program, why would there be hundreds of families with tears on their eyes, chanting on the front lawn? This is not the reality of what's happening. And when you're talking about 60,000 kids waiting, this is horrendous. These are kids that are going to lose the opportunity to gain valuable skills, possibly losing the opportunity to live an independent life later on. And what is even more horrifying is that this has been going on for 5 years now. So the problem has spilled into the schools. These kids are now entering our schools, having not developed skills to often even be there safely, And what we're seeing is schools are a very chaotic place right now. If you would talk to an education worker, if they were allowed to tell what's really happening, you would find out that they're running from emergency to emergency, trying to keep kids safe. and there's not a lot of learning going on for our kids.
So it's not just isolated to homes of people with families with kids who are dealing with autism.
No, because if the kids are not in therapy, where are they right now, right? They're being put to schools, and now basically that responsibility is being put on teachers and EAs and principals and learning support teachers to almost become therapists for these kids, to try and keep things, keep people safe, keep kids learning. But what's happening is it really isn't great.
So what happens next for you and this fight?
Well, we're going to keep going. We've been going for 5 years. It's really unfortunate that parents are put in this situation. We've got complicated enough lives. We don't have time to be standing with signs in our hand.
Absolutely.
But we're going to keep going because our kids are worth it, right? Any parent you would talk to would say they will keep fighting for their kids. So yeah, we'll keep at it.
Keeping at it. All right, we're going to definitely follow this story more. More to come with this. Kate Dudley-Logue with the Ontario Autism Coalition. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.